Hello and welcome to this download from Blackwell Online. My name is George Miller, and my guest today is Nick Davies, winner of the first Bristol Festival Ideas Book Prize. The prize is awarded to an outstanding book which presents new, important and challenging ideas in a way which is engaging and accessible. Nick Davies' book, Flat Earth News, is a scathing attack on the way in which commercialism has turned journalism into what he calls churnalism, and truth has become the first casualty. Before he knew he'd won the prize, I spoke to Nick Davies about his book and began by asking him what Flat Earth News was.
Okay, well, a Flat Earth news story is like the idea that the Earth is flat, or at least like that for hundreds of years, in that masses and masses of people believed that it was true that the Earth was flat. But then when finally somebody checked, they discovered that what they believed wasn't true. And the point of the title is that our news outlets are full of stories like that everybody believes, but in fact they ain't true. Yeah, there is this unwritten rule in Fleet Street that dog doesn't eat dog, which means that we write about everybody else, but we won't write about ourselves or each other. And I broke that and have encountered a degree of quite eye-watering hostility from some old dinosaurs in Fleet Street who just can't stand the idea that any kind of scrutiny should be brought to bear on their industry. And also from some of the individuals who come out badly from the book, because the book's constructed out of telling the stories behind stories. But beyond that, I had masses and masses of very reassuring support from journalists who were glad that somebody has tried to explain what goes wrong in our newsrooms. The Millennium Bug is great fun, because if you look back at it, way beneath the pile of news coverage, there is a little seed of truth. There was going to be a problem with these computers on Millennium Eve, or at least with some of them, although it wasn't quite clear how many, and it wasn't quite clear how serious the problem would be if it did occur. And on that tiny foundation, we built this huge edifice of fiction. Every news outlet on the planet was involved in it. And funny enough, we've just done almost exactly the same thing with swine flu. It's a basic principle of commercialized journalism that you can't admit that you don't know the truth. You have to pretend. And where you have a story like the Millennium Bug or swine flu, which at its heart has something you don't know the truth about, we go bonkers. We just fabricate and tend to fabricate up the more alarming end of the scale, because that's where the excitement is. So journalism is this word I use to try to describe journalists being chained to their keyboards, and instead of going out and making contacts and finding stories and checking facts, they're just sitting there churning out unchecked second-hand material from wire agencies and from the PR industry, and it makes it structurally likely that they'll fail to tell the truth, which is rather serious. The impact of the internet is very, very complex. I mean, on the one hand, it makes it much easier for a journalist chained to his desk to do research. On the other hand, it makes it much worse because it brings the deadlines forward. If we're filing for a website, we no longer even have until the end of the day to research and write our stories. And if you look at the big picture, it's destroyed the financial model which has previously sustained editorial operations, although maybe there's some way in which we can develop a new model for electronic newspapers. It's very, very complicated. And it would be wrong to blame the internet for the demise of the quality of news reporting. It's really to do with the takeover of our news organizations by huge corporations who don't give a damn about the quality of the news they produce. They just want to make money out of us. I think the most frightening idea of the book, which is the one that people need to engage with, is the sheer scale of misinformation infiltrating our news outlets and therefore infiltrating our thinking about all sorts of aspects of life, and in particular infiltrating the thinking of governments. So whether we're invading foreign countries or combating non-existent problems with our computers or epidemics that may or may not occur, our thinking is riddled with ignorance. And it really is, I use the word in the book, it's frightening when you see the scale of it.